Hi and welcome. Slow flow. If you're with me live, it's a Wednesday morning, so good morning. We're going to have a little look at back bending today. I'm just going to ease our way in towards slightly deeper back bends throughout the next 40 to 45 minutes. So come along with me. Start by bringing yourself to a nice comfortable seated position on your mat. You might like to prop yourself up on a blanket or anything else you've got at home, maybe a towel or a couch cushion. Just get a sense of elevating the hips a little. And we'll take a moment just to check in with the breath. So let the palms rest on the lap and close down the eyes. Start with a nice full inhale through the nose. Just sigh out the mouth, let it go, clear the breath. And then in and out through the nose as you settle into a nice rhythmical breath pattern. And today looking for the exhale to be just that little bit longer than the inhale. To allow the nervous system to settle down and come into that more parasympathetic nervous system dominance. And feel free to add a little pause at the top and the bottom of the breath, a little bit of retention, just to keep your mind focused on the rhythm of the breath. And keep your attention on the breath and keep that rhythm flowing as you make your way down onto your back. Set yourself up so the soles of the feet are flat on the floor. You want them about a hip width apart and just a little bit away from the hips so that if you reach down with your hands, your fingertips just brush the heels. And then just for a moment, inhale, reach the arms up overhead, find a sense of extension through the arms. And then just notice the feeling, the little subtle lift that comes here in the low back, that lumbar curve. And then as you exhale, bring the hands back down. Notice how that curve flattens out a little, but hopefully there's still a little bit there. And then bring some energy, some attention to the lower belly, activate that. A little tuck to press that lower back flat into the mat, getting this sense of flatten. I'll return to the previous position on the inhale, a slight arch, and this feeling of tilting the hips or tilting the pelvis. So using the abdominal muscles to find some motion through the pelvis. Start to move with the rhythm of breath that you've established. And seeing what works for you. It might be an inhale to flatten out the back and an exhale to return to that lumbar curve. Or you might switch the breath in the opposite direction. Just take a few more of those. And then with the hands planted down, palms facing down next to the hips, ground down through the feet. Sense some energy there. Get a sense of squeezing the inner thighs, activating the outer thighs, almost like you're trying to pull the legs apart and draw the knees together without moving the legs at all. From that sense of activation through the legs, start to move with the rhythm of your breath once again, but this time lifting the hips up and lowering them down. Again, it might be up on the inhale and down on the exhale, or it might be the opposite breath pattern. Just take what serves you. We'll take 3 more. Lifting up with the breath and lowering down. Let it settle, take a moment. And you're going to pick up your right foot and place it onto your left knee. My right hand's going to reach through, take hold of the front of the shin, and the left hand can reach around. If the shin feels a little bit too far away this morning, today, you can reach around to the back of the thigh instead. And then activate and flex both feet. Nice full breath here. Start to extend the right knee away from the body. And notice how that changes the sensations in the hips. And if you have the shin, switch the grip to the back of the thigh, and we'll extend this left leg up towards the ceiling. So looking for a hamstring stretch as well here now. So extending out through the heel, reaching that up towards the ceiling, flexing the toes, drawing them back towards the shins. And then hands can reach maybe up for the back of the calf. Maybe you keep them on the back of the thigh. But find a grip that works for you where you can keep this left leg active. One more breath here. And then slowly rebending that left leg. We'll take it into a twist. So I'm going to take my left hand and place it onto this right foot. And then slowly lower. I use my right arm extending out as a nice counterbalance to slow the transition down. And keeping the shape of the legs coming into a twist. And trying to ground through both shoulders. Maybe the gaze can extend over that right hand. One more breath here. And then slowly return. All that again on the second side, so switch the legs. Right foot plants, left foot comes onto the right knee. And then come around for the front of the shin or the back of the thigh. Flex both feet and start to extend that left knee away from you. Notice what your breath is doing now. Do you still have the same rhythm that you established at the start of this session? gentle release of the shin as you extend the leg. So that right leg's extended down. Toes pulling back towards the shin, the energy up through the heel. One more breath here. And then slowly rebend. My right hand is coming onto this left foot, and I'm taking the shape over to the right. And this left arm can extend out, gaze over the left hand if that serves. If you're still looking for a little bit more through this hip region, extend that left knee away. It might take it into a deeper position, a deeper stretch, but it might actually just change the location of the stretch. If you start to feel it in the knee, just back off. We don't want any unnecessary tension or pain in the knee. One more breath here. And gently return through center. Draw the knees in towards the chest gently. Take the hands up to the feet. Knees out wide. Feet extend up towards the ceiling. Happy baby pose. I'm actively working on grounding my lower back into the mat. Using the lower abdominals. Try and ground that sacrum. And if you have a tendency to be right up here with the sacrum lifted, maybe experiment switching the grip to the shins or even the backs of the thighs. You can get that sacrum grounded. And slowly draw the legs back in. Hands can come underneath the knees as we rock and roll. A little bit of self-massage on the back. And then rocking it up. You might sweep the legs out to the side or just cross the shins over. Come forward. Find our way to a tabletop position here. And in your tabletop, you start to move through cat-cow. So my wrists are stacked nicely under the shoulders. My index finger's pointing straight ahead. My fingers are spread nice and wide. I'm really pressing down through index and thumb, drawing lower belly in just lightly. Knees stacked under the hips. The belly starts to drop. You find an arch in the spine and the gaze lifts. This is our cow pose. Try and create space between the shoulders and the ears. And then draw lower belly in. Press the mat away, round and dome through the upper back. And then start to move with your breath. Finding a sense of rhythm, but also bringing your awareness and your attention to the space between the vertebrae. Looking to create fluidity of each one of these intervertebral joints. Imagine you're lubricating them with breath and movement. Allowing that fluid to balance out and create a sense of rhythm through the spine. Next time you come through neutral, pausing there. And then walk the hands forward. Keep those hips stacked over the knees as you start to lower down. Lower the forehead to the mat. And if that feels just a little far away, it might be a small cushion, or if you have a block, bringing the block in for the forehead. If there's more space, the forehead can comfortably find the mat. You might explore steadying the gaze forward, and maybe it's the chin that finds the mat. Next, inhale, slowly curl back up. And we're going to come up to downward facing dog. So set up the hands, tuck the toes, lift yourself up. Find your movement. Pedaling out the feet. Taking anything you need, any twists, any wardrobe adjustments. And then from down dog, start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Bend the knees as much as you need to. We're going to set up for our standing forward fold. Hands can find opposite elbows. Release the head down. And from here, slide the hands around. Bring them to the low back and interlace the fingers. And then start to open up, extending those arms towards straight. Now if that brings irritation into the shoulders, you're just going to keep a bend in the elbows. Otherwise, maybe work the arms a little bit further over. And then slowly release. Bending at the elbows once again, hands come to the low back. And slide them back down to the mat or to the shins. As you inhale, flat back, halfway lift. And then take a bend through the knees, plant the hands down and walk yourself towards a high plank position. Set yourself up for high plank. And then bring the knees to the mat. Drift the shoulders forward. So the shoulders come over the wrists, and then bend through the elbows, lower all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes. And then we'll find Sphinx pose. So draw the elbows forward so they stack under the shoulders. Plant the hands down. And then get a sense of drawing the hips forward by grounding down through the forearms, through the hands. Imagine you're extending further up through the crown of the head. Pressing down through the tops of the feet. And see if you can lift the knees with a little bit more activation through the legs. There's a slight tone in the glutes. And some tone in the low belly. And slowly lower down, elbows out wide, release. Slide the hands back. And we'll take a moment in baby cobra here. So lift up. That same sense of lift you just had, but this time hover the hands, draw the elbows in. A little bit more activation through the lower back. Working on strengthening this area that tends to pose a lot of issues for a lot of people. slowly lower down. Use the hands, tuck the toes if you need to, or just press into the knees. And pull yourself through tabletop and into child's pose. Now let's take the child's pose with the knees together and the hands back. A little bit more support for the low back in this variation. And then slide the hands forward. Flatten them down as you tuck the toes and lift up once again into downward facing dog. And from your down dog, walk the hands back towards the feet. Standing forward fold. Start to draw in through the lower belly. Ground down through the feet, slowly curl up to stand. Reach those arms up. And then draw the hands down through heart center. Now take the hands, you're going to press them into the low back. So it might be the palms facing up, the fingers facing up, the palms pressing in, or it might be that you use the thumbs. We're going to take a little bend to the knees here, so it looks like this. I'm either pressing here or here. And then we'll take a bend to the knees. My feet are set up about hip distance apart. And I start to press the hips forward. The sternum is lifting up towards the ceiling, and the elbows are wrapping back in towards each other, opening across the chest and the shoulders. So finding this sense of pressing forward, and only going to a place that serves you this morning. Use that bend in the knees. Maybe the gaze goes up. Use the inhale to slowly come up. Take anything you need, little shakes, little shuffles. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Use a nice deep bend in the knees as you fold forward with wide arms over the legs. Slide the hands to the shins, inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And then the knees bend as the hands plant. Walk yourself forward once again. Drop the knees down and drift the shoulders forward over the wrists. Untuck the toes and lower to the belly. Hands come forward. Find your Sphinx pose once again. Nice full breath. Pressing down through the tops of the feet. See what it feels like when you lift the knees off the mat. Try and draw yourself forward. Create space between the shoulders and the ears by pressing those elbows down a little more. And then slowly release down. And this time, as we come up again, you're going to slide the hands a little bit further out, a little bit further forward, so the elbows are forward at the shoulders, and the hands are wider than the shoulders. And then we'll lift up towards seal pose. And you can take the feet a little bit wider to create a bit more space for the low back, particularly if it feels tight here for you. And then slowly lower down. Take a moment with the hands set up under the shoulders and just bend at the knees. A little rock side to side. And then place those feet back down. Activation through the lower back once again as we take the hands back. Squeeze the feet in towards each other this time. Extend the arms back, floating them off the mat Draw shoulder blades in, and then squeezing the feet together. See if you can float the feet just off the mat. Finding our Shalabhasana or locust pose. Look for this length through the neck. So the gaze is down, just forward of the mat. Like you're looking down the bridge of your nose. Nice, full breath. And then release down. Hands come in once again. And slowly draw yourself back through tabletop and into that supported child's pose with the knees underneath, supporting the belly. Feel this extension, or release I should say, out of the low back. And then inhale, rise up. We're going to take hold of our blocks and set yourself up with the right foot stepped forward into this lunge position. Now you might like a blanket, depending on what kind of floor you're working with. Might like a blanket underneath the knee just for a little bit of extra support. And then we'll set up in this 90-degree lunge position. So we've got lots of straight lines here. 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here. Don't worry too much about this one because we're going to bend through the back leg. So I'm using the blocks as a bit of balance support and then taking taking the hand back to grab hold of the foot and drawing in, finding a quad stretch here. So looking to stretch out through this left quad, the hip flexor. And you might like to shuffle this front foot forward a little so you can sink a little deeper. Maybe a little deeper. And if the balance is feeling good today, the right hand might come around, take hold of the foot as well. And really get a sense of drawing that heel towards the butt, sinking in to open up through the quad. Nice, full breath. And then we'll gently release this side. Take a moment. Anything you need, just a little bit of movement here. And then switching sides. Sweep that right leg back. Sweep the left foot forward. And setting up once again in our lunge position. And then take whatever hand back works better for your balance. So for me, I like to take the left hand back to take hold of the right foot because it feels like I have a wider base at the front for the balance. And I can take hold from here, and when it's feeling good, I can take the right hand back. But again, personal preference. There's always a sense of squeezing the inner thighs when you're in any kind of lunge position to help with the balance. And then again, to take it further, sink a little deeper in. Maybe you shuffle that front foot forward, really drawing that heel to the butt. It really will get into the tightest part of your quadriceps. It's a collection of muscles. So it might be right in the front. It might be closer down towards the knee. It might feel like it's right at the top. Just keep breathing into it. One more breath. Slowly release. Hands plant. We'll take it back to child's pose. You can remove the blanket and any other products that you can use it. Just take your time. Settle back. You would prefer your extended child's pose, of course, taking that. Otherwise, We'll take our tight variation, a supported variation. And then we'll come forward onto the belly once again. Not sure if you can hear it at home, but please excuse the sounds of the rubbish truck, which is currently in full operation outside. We're going to work into our Dhanurasana and our bow pose. So, if bow pose is quite a challenge for you, and it feels like a lot of compression in the low back, you might like to have a bolster at home. Bolsters can be super handy for this, but you can roll up a towel or a blanket, and you can place it here for the hips to rest on. Now, works for some, doesn't work for everyone. I'll just see what works for you. You can have a little experiment with it. We're going to start just one side at a time. So I'm going to keep my left hand set up like Sphinx pose and bend my right leg and take it back. I'm going to get a sense of pressing and lengthening from here. Slowly release. Second side. And really pressing that foot to hand and hand to foot. Getting a sense of the lift happening through the activation of the legs, the activation of foot to hand, hand to foot. And get a real sense of opening through the shoulder if I get deep enough into it. Beautiful. I'm going to remove the blanket and come into the full variation of the pose. Feel free to keep it there if it works for you. You can even take it a little higher as well. Just experiment with that if that's something that feels like it supports you. And then I'm going to take one at a time. Now, if you're here and you're working with the grip on the feet, really get a sense of activating, squeezing the legs together to start with, and then really press to lift up. If there's a little bit more space and you can get the hands down to the shins, I want you to play with flexing the feet. So, inhale, press feet to hands, hands to feet, and let the extension of the legs be what pulls the chest up. So the shoulders opening lifts, and then I allow my gaze to lift with the pose. Energy of the knees squeezing in towards each other. Nice, full breath. One more here. And then slowly release down. And make a pillow for my forehead with the hands and release it down. And then rebend the knees. Just little windscreen wipers side to side. Release out that low back. And then the feet slowly plant down. Once again, press back through child's pose. Release. And then come up. Tabletop position. One little rinse out through cat-cow. And then you can either sweep the legs around to the side or cross them. So we return back to our backs. This time, bringing your blocks with you. If you don't have blocks at home, you can stack cushions. You can use books. You can use basically anything that's this shape. We're going to use it to support the sacrum for our supported bridge as we come into supported bridge and then waterfall to finish. So setting up the feet just like we did at the start. And if you just take one round of lifting and lowering, so start with a little bit of pelvic tilt, flatten out the back, and then bring that natural arch back in, squeeze in the thighs and lift. Now I like to use the block on the flattest setting, so there's a lot more surface area to settle the sacrum on. Have the benefit of having plenty of blocks. So if I want more height, I'll just stack more blocks on the flat setting. Now you can use the block on the taller setting, you can use the block on the side, but again find something that feels like it supports the sacrum. And in a perfect world, the object you're using to support is bigger than the sacrum, so it supports both sides of the sacroiliac joint. It's going to give you all of the support you need. Allow the shoulders to really ground into the mat. You might like the palms facing down, grounded into the floor. Just take a few breaths here. And then one at a time, lift the knees until they stack over the hips. And then lift the feet until they stack. And this doesn't work for all bodies, particularly if you have tight hamstrings. This might feel like a whole lot of effort. Now if you're working into this pose and it feels like a whole lot of effort, that's not really the intention. So you might prefer to come off the blocks, take yourself to the wall, and then slide the legs up the wall. A little bit more support and that same sensation of groundedness, of restoration, and this feeling of draining. Just let it settle. We'll be here for a little while. So allow everything to sink, allow everything to drop. Really return to that breath rhythm that you established right at the start of class. If you like the sensation that's in your practice and it feels balancing, you can reach the arms up to the ceiling as well. Just soften through the fingers, so it's not a reach. It's a sense of release. And allowing gravity to do some of this work for you. One more full deep breath here. And then slowly let the hands come down, let the feet come down. Take a moment in your supported bridge here, let the feet settle, let the sacrum settle, and then squeeze in the thighs, ground down through the feet. Lift the hips to slide the blocks out of the way. Slowly lower the hips to the floor. Again, let it settle. And then take any movement you need before you settle in for your Shavasana. Might even like just a few pelvic tilts. I like to draw the knees in very gently. Might be a spinal twist to each side, taking your time with that. Or it might be a happy baby. Once you're finished with any of that movement that you need, you're going to find your way to your final resting position, Shavasana. Palms facing up in this gesture or this mudra of receiving the energy that you've generated through the practice. And then just starting from the tips of the toes, Coming up through the body, scanning for any little residual pockets of tension. And use the breath and inhale through the nose, and an exhale out the mouth can help to release tension. As we settle the body in to stillness or Shavasana. Home and you have more time, feel free to stay in your Shavasana a little longer. Otherwise, start to bring a little bit more energy back into the body by gently deepening the breath. And a sense of movement through the fingers and toes. Extend through the arms, through the legs. Roll yourself over to one side. Gently bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Draw the hands in towards heart center. And close on a breath together. Nice full inhale through the nose. Inside, out the mouth, let it go. Thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your time, sharing your energy, and sharing your practice. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.